Hey guys, new video here, talking about is it worth running Chayula stones, pure Chayula stones. So first, I'll tell you what they are. This is a normal stone. Everybody probably is familiar with this. You stack 100 of these little splinters right here, and then you get this stone. You put this in. You have a zone. That you kill a bunch of monsters, and then the big boss, the big girl herself, is at the end, and she has a 50% chance of dropping you a blessing, and then she can also drop some nice items, some of which are can sell for a little bit, right? Well, some of them can sell for like absolutely nothing to like multiple exalts, like 10 plus sometimes if you get a good corruption on the skin of the loyal. So I want to talk today about pure stones. You know, how do you get them? Running them in rotations, running them solo, like, is it worth doing? Because I think there's a little bit to talk about here. It's pretty interesting. Introduced in Betrayal League, and the way you get it is if you open up your syndicate, there's this branch of the syndicate called Research. And Research, you'll know it by it's the room, kind of like the old Haku missions, where you go underground, and then in there's a ton of rare monsters destroying the evidence. You have to save the evidence and kill the syndicate like boss guys before all the evidence is destroyed. And if you do that, then what will happen is if after you fill up this intelligence bar right here, if you have a monster called Ep.2, you see this breach monster girl, if you have her inside of the research branch, okay, preferably as the boss right here, right? Because as the boss you get two benches, okay? If she's not the boss, you get one bench. As long as she is rank 3 and she is in research, you'll get at least one bench where you put in a normal stone. So for me, I'll put in this normal Chayula stone right here, and then it will turn into a pure stone. It's very important not to put it in to the bench unless the bench is rank 3 along this research branch. And the reason for that is because if it's like a tier 1 Ep.2, once again this boss guy right here, if it's a tier 1 or a tier 2, you'll get things called like what is it called, like an enriched and a charged or something like that. I think it goes like charged and then enriched, that aren't really worth anything. You don't get as much item quantity, you don't get as much pack size, you don't get the higher monster level. So it's very important, okay? And also I think it's like worth less if you actually brick your Chayula stone that way, but you get much less juice out of that stone and that upgrade. So make sure that she is rank 3 and in the research role. Once again, preferably as the leader of the branch. So that's how you get the stone. Now, what's great about the stone? So, like I said, a Chayula stone is monster level 84. Now, why is that significant? Because on the Atlas, if you're just doing regular maps, right? These T16s right here are monster level 83. So 83 is currently the maximum monster level. And the way that the XP scaling works in this game, well, first, everyone knows that, well, not everyone knows, but in the past few leagues there was a thing implemented where after level 95 there is like a little bit of a nerf put on your XP. I'm not talking about the difference between your character level and the map level, right? Because everybody knows if you're like level 90 something and you run a tier 1 map which is level 68, you're gonna get like no experience, right? But I'm not talking about that, because I'm talking about after 95 they artificially nerfed your XP gain. I forgot the exact numbers, but it's probably like something like a 10% at level 9 after you hit level 95, and then at level 99 to 100, I believe you get hit by like a 50% XP penalty or something like that, right? Artificial. And this is multiplied against once again the level difference in your level and the zone level. So what does that mean? Well, that means that if you're running maps, you can actually go online to a percentage XP calculator to see this, but I don't know the exact numbers. But basically, going from 80, let's say you're doing T16, you're doing 83 maps, and you go to an 84 zone, right? And say you're killing the same type of monsters. It's not just like that little increase that you're gonna get. It's actually a more multiplier, a massive more multiplier on your XP. And so this is significant because currently the pure Chayula Breachstones is the fastest way to get level 100. In fact, it's the fastest way to level. It's not uncommon for like someone who hits level 70 something, right? Once they complete their tier 10 Katava, and they start doing like they get to 70 something to do their pure Exopiages, and then they go into the pure Chayubis. It's not uncommon to get level 93 in like 20 minutes or something, right? You can go from like 70 to 93 in like 20 minutes, like no joke. It's absolutely ridiculous. And if you're doing a rotation, this is compounded by you're not spending as much 4x for each amount of experience. Okay, so with that said, another thing about this is that the obviously the zone is super juice. You get larger pack size, you get more monsters. You definitely see more monsters spawn in the pure zones compared to the lesser zones, and you definitely see more monsters spawn in Chayubi's Breachstone compared to even if it's a pure Ash, Tool, UUL Needle, Exopiage. This is the best one. So for the purpose of this video and the testing, I'll talk about this stone. Also, another thing to know about a pure stone compared to a regular stone is that the boss is guaranteeing a blessing. Actually, in the beginning of the league, there was like this bug where it would drop 2 of them. It was kind of hilarious. It will drop a blessing of course, like the whatever Breachstone you're in, and then it also guarantees 1 item from the loot pool. So for Chayubi, that is going to be either a Skin of the Loyal, it's going to be a Severed in Sleep, it is going to be a Skin of the Loyal, Severed in Sleep, a Red Dream, a Blue Dream, a Green Dream. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? I think that's it, right? And obviously the most expensive one is the Green Dream, which is, I think it's around like 4 point something exalts at the time of this recording. And so if you get lucky with that, you know, it's pretty damn good, right? At the time of this recording, also these stones are about 1.9 to 2 exalts. So that's kind of like, what is the stone? Why is it so good? Why do people want to run it? And basically what I did is I was like, I got a lot of questions on stream about, is it worth running the stones, right? What does that mean? Like, is it worth running the stones, right? Because I've done hundreds of these stones in rotation. Not this one. This is a regular one. I've done hundreds of pure rotations as like the host on my stream, and so I feel like I'm like qualified to like kind of like give some thoughts on it. And when people say, is it worth, I'm guessing they can't get a rota together themselves, right? So I'm guessing they're going to probably be trying to run it solo. And so what I did is I've done this run actually 3 different times on stream. So I've done 10 pure Chayubi runs, okay? And I've done that 3 times. So I've done a total of 30 stones to kind of get an idea of like what it feels like to run the Chayubi. So I think 30 is a pretty decent sample size. The reason, okay, this one's only a 10 sample because the other 10, when I did it on stream, I kind of looked at it and I took inventory, I currency copped, and so and so I have like a mental note of that. And the reason I'm not going to compare it is because I want to save stash space. But for this one, I would say that this is an accurate representation of what those 10 runs will look like. So I'm very comfortable saying that this is like pretty much the average here. And so I'll go through that. So in 10 runs, right, if you're going to buy stones as of right now, you are looking at 20 exalts. So like, can you make back 20 exalts? And on average, I would say, I would ask you just message me in game. So I would say that in terms of, is it worth it solo? No, it is actually not worth it at the time of this recording, because can I make 20 exalts usually? And no, I could not. In all 3 sets of my 10 runs, I could not make 20 exalts. Now, what could I make though? So in doing these hundreds of Chayubi stones in rotation, I've noticed that in every 18 stones, and I use the number 18 because usually we did like 3 stone buy-ins, so 6 people times 3 stones. In every 18 stones, we're getting 1 to 2 green dreams in there, right? So if you do 10, it's like pretty reliable to get like 1 green dream, and that's what I got in this one and another test. And basically, the green dream was like 4 exalts, right? And there's this interesting thing going on where, if you use your blessing, okay, if you use your blessing on a green dream, which is, let's say 4 exalts, just to give an even number. Let's say the blessing costs like, just to use another simple number, let's say that the blessing costs 0.5 exalts, right? So now the total value of blessing plus green dream is 4.5 exalts. And you think, okay, so that means when I use the blessing and turn it into a green nightmare, it should sell for around 4.5 exalts, right? But no, it was sometimes selling for like let's just say 5 exalts, 5.2 exalts. And so sometimes you can make 1.1, 1.2 exalts just by using the blessing on the green dream and using the green nightmare. And that's what I did here. I sold a green nightmare for it was about like I think 5.7, and then where does the other like 5.3 come from? Well, that comes from the actual blessings of Chayula. So right now it's around like 108 C each. Obviously, since it guarantees a drop at the end, you get 10 of them, right? So 1080 C divided by the current cost of exalt, which is like 170. Let's just say it's like 5 point something. So this is where I got the number where that's where these exalts come from right here. So that's 11 exalts, once again, from selling a green dream, which once again isn't guaranteed, that there is variance there, but it's safe to assume that in 10, 10 plus, you're going to get probably one of them. So there's 11 exalts right there. So where else do I make the rest of my money? Well, for the most part, these splinters were from 3. I broke these down so it's easier to know. These are from selling 3 severed in sleeps, and then the other 6 drops were skin of the loyal. Now, the reason I'm only showing one of them is because this is really the only one that kind of matters. It's probably not like this. It's probably more like 99C nowadays. But there are some good colors. So there's like 3 blue. There's like 3 blue, 2 red, 1 green. It's a little bit. 3 red, 2 blue, 1 green is a little bit of money. The big money one is 4 red, 1 green, 1 blue. And that one I've sold many, probably at least 5 of them for about 4 exalts, I think, maybe like 3.9 exalts. I don't know what the price is now. Maybe it's gone down since so many people are doing these stone road tests. And so, so like if you get one of those, obviously you're a little bit more in the money, but it's not reliable to get those. And so the reason I didn't list the, whoa, Lily, what are you doing, huh? What are you doing? You silly girl, make a YouTube video. And so basically, the other ones, the reason I don't list them, I just sold them for these divines, is because, well, one of them breaks, so I didn't get a divine, okay? But the reason I sell it is because let's say you have a skin of loyal verse, like that's worth 20C or something, right? You're not going to sell that. With the amount of people getting these stones together and doing rotations and dropping the items, there's no way in hell you're going to sell your 20, 30C skin of loyal, ever. Okay, I promise you that. I've tried selling a lot of them. I've tried dropping the price down to a ridiculous level. And so you are way better off just for your time, right? Just selling them for the divines. So we'll add in like 4 or 5 divines here. And this is like the junk stuff that came in from the map, just the currencies. These are some random non-T15, non-T16 maps. So I also have a double shaped Elder combination strategy where my 15s are only towers, my 16s are Elder Moon Temples for now. And so these were the of note drops, because I know for a fact I can sell my Elder Moon Temples in bulk for 18C each. I know for a fact I can sell my Tower Maps for at least 10C each. Right now I think maybe they're 11C each. And so I'll put these as notable drops because I can only count a currency as equivalent currency for the test if it actually sells, if I know it will sell, right? That's why these maps, I mean, who in their right mind is going to sell individual T11, T12 maps, right? No one's going to do that. So I'm going to discount everything on the left side here, these random maps. Although I guess if you wanted to, you could count those because eventually you'll get the money. But like, let's be real here, okay? At this point in the league, nobody really wants to do that, okay? Nobody's going to leave their map for like a I don't know, 1.5C trade for like a 1C trade for a T11 map or something, okay? It's just not going to happen. And so when I add this, I have 11 exalts here. If I add like this and this, we're looking at another one, so that's like 12. If I add these, like this is 27 times 18. What is that actually? Let me see what that is. 27 times 18. That's like 486. That's like almost 3 exalts, right? And so although I am getting close to that 20 exalt number that I need to make back in pure currency, right? If I sell, once again, if you sell these things, if you even want to, you're not close to that 20 exalt number. And once again, I've done this test 3 different times with 10 stones each on stream for the just for like the data, right? And I can tell you that on average, you were not making back the investment. I think as the league goes on, that'll still hold true because blessings are dropping and dropping and dropping. And another thing to know about the blessings is blessings are a very interesting beast in terms of selling because it is a very good item, right? You use it on a an Eye of Chayubi, which is an amulet, and it becomes a presence. And the presence, if you corrupt, you can get like +1 max res, you get a +1 curse. You have huge amounts of money, and so a lot of people are buying them to corrupt necklaces and things like that, or using them on green dreams, right? Because once again, it is much cheaper than buying the green nightmare. But it's weird because let me tell you how it usually goes when you have a very rare item. So let's say you have an item that is rare and is usually dropped individually and not and infrequent enough, right? So let's just say you have an item like an Owl's Amulet. Okay, let's just take that as an example, right? It went from like 50 exalts to like 20 exalts recently, but it's still a big item that you can only drop from the Crystal King Owl. So what happens if 10 people have the Owl's Amulet, right? So the 10 listings on Pure Trade, the bottom one gets bought out first, and then so instantly it's the next guy. The next guy's listing is there, he's ready to be bought. And because it is infrequent enough and rare enough and expensive enough, it is fair to say that the price, even if you undercut someone, it goes back up to a normalized value very quickly. And so undercutters don't really matter too much for like a big uncommon item like that, right? And so this kind of works across the board. It doesn't have to be this item, but I'm just using this as an example, right? Because it's like one item uncommon, and the undercutting doesn't really do too much because someone's eventually going to buy it, and then the next listing is there as the next person. Well, with the popularity of the pure stones, what is ending up happening is if I do 10 stones by myself, and now I am guaranteed 10 blessings, I control D with my trade macro, and I see that I see that someone's selling them theirs for 105C. I list mine for 104C because I both know that the blessings are going down, right? I know that, I can see the trend. And I know that it will definitely sell. Like in my experience, I've sold hundreds of these, right? So I know that like I'll get a sale at least every 10 minutes or so. So what does that mean? That means I definitely want to be the cheapest one. So I will list all 10 of my blessings, right? And because of the API, even if you list one in one tab that's priced, it'll pull from all your other tabs if you have another blessing. So it will list you at, let's say I undercut that guy by 1C. I remain at that price at 104 or 1C less than his for 10 trades, and that's very important for this, which kind of sucks for everyone that's trying to sell the blessings, right? Because if I'm only selling one every 10 minutes, right, this isn't like the Owl's example where once mine is gone, the next guy is right there and open and the price can get pushed back up. No, this is like my blessings are there for 10 trades. And so what's going to happen is like everyone doing these rotations and stuff and buying so many of these stones and running them, they are going to be, if someone decides to undercut you, not only are they going to undercut you, you will never be able to sell yours until his are gone, right? So you can imagine everyone listing 10 stones at once and the price gets unnaturally dropped down. And then for the seller, you don't care because it's just, you're losing 1C by undercutting that guy, and you're pretty much guaranteed to sell yours if you're the cheapest one. So it creates a cycle that's like kind of strange. So that's just like a little tangent about the blessings. That's very strange. That doesn't happen so much to other items, right? So that's pretty cool to note there. Okay, so other things I'll say is that this is like the solo run. So solo overall not really worth it, but it is kind of cool if you want to like build up a faster base pool if you don't care really about the money. Because let's say you swap your T16 from something you were running to something else, and you do a few of these stones, you'll get like a decent amount of the other T16 that you did, right? So that's kind of cool, but once again, money-wise, not that great. It's just like a speed thing if you don't care about that. Another thing I'll say is that the pure boss is significantly harder than the normal version, so make sure you have a boss killer if you're doing a rotation. Another thing is that if you're doing rotations, the boss HP is calculated once someone enters the arena. So as long as all 5 people leave the arena before the boss killer goes into the arena, the boss will still have 1 man HP. So that's very important there for anyone looking to get groups together. So let's talk about rotations and are those worth it, right? Because we've decided so is solo running Chayubi's worth it? No, absolutely not in terms of a monetary standpoint, right? But are rotations worth it, where let's say it's a 1 stone buy-in, so everyone in the group provides 1 stone. It doesn't really matter how many stones because you're still getting the multiplied bonus, but if you put in if you put in 1 stone each, essentially what you're doing is you are paying 2 exalts for 6 stones of XP, right? With depending on how you do the loot distribution, you'll still get your 1 stones loot, right? And I think that is very worth it, because once again, at level 99, I was getting between 110 to 130 million XP an hour at level 99. What is that? It's like a 4 or 5 hour level 100, right? That's crazy. And so if you think about that, and if you think about it, like you're paying for the XP, then it becomes very much worth it. Obviously, quantity bonus in a group with the party bonuses and stuff, multiply the drops again. So like it's pretty damn good in a group, and it's pretty fun as long as you have a boss killer, as long as everyone trusts each other to not like steal. If you trust your boss killer to not steal your loot at the end, so I would say, if you're going to do these stones, try to find a rotation. Right, if you have friends to do it, especially if you're the boss killer, you can kind of guarantee not to be scammed, right? So the way that you do it is, if you're hosting and you are the boss killer, you can hold everybody's loot to the end. So if someone scams, you can like steal their stones, right, as like punishment for them scamming someone else in the group, right? That's what I did. So I won't say I've hosted like hundreds of these stones on my stream, and there was not one instance of scam, because what I did is I made individual tabs for everyone for their loot, and then they gave all the stones to me, so I was the holder of the stones. And if anyone tried to scam, then they just lost their stones. So it was never worth it for anyone to scam, right? So you can do a system like that. Another thing to note is that in these groups, you definitely want to put in a Zuby's Flask, which gives you a where is that item? This item right here. You're definitely going to want to wear one of these, because the barrage, although the individual monsters, when you have 6 people in there, they're going to die instantly. If a rare gets their purple barrage off on you guys, you are going to feel that. It does massive damage. So definitely get in some resist here. You can even use a breach ring with Chow's resist in there, so you can get a little bit more. But that is like the deadly thing. Nothing else except for that purple barrage will probably kill anybody. Okay. Other things to note about it, is there anything else to say about these runs? Another thing you do, if you have like a guild or like a high population friends list or whatever like that, or your friends that you play with normally, another thing you do that I'm not really a big fan of, because it feels kind of like weird to me, is you can sell spots. So let me give you an example. If you are the buyer of the stone, so I pay 2 exalts, and I know for sure that I'm gonna get let's say 100 C back, right? So essentially I've lost 240 C, right? Let's say you sold every portal slot that you have extra. If you can do the boss killing, 5 portal slots for 20 C each, right? You've recouped back 100 C. 30 C each, you could recoup back 150 C. Let's say you sell, and so you could sell spots to recoup your losses, and then if you get a little bit lucky with a green dream, things like that, you'll actually make money. So some people I have heard of people selling spots for their runs, okay? And I've even, for not just like the purple stone, for the red, the Exopiai stones, the tool stones, UUL Needle stones, it's basically selling XP. And so you could do that if you wanted to, but that's just like a little thing I didn't really want to do, right? But it's definitely sellable, and depending on how long you're willing to wait for a full party, you might adjust the prices a little bit. But that's one more note about it. Overall, I think it's pretty damn fun. I don't know if they're going to keep this in the game next week, or they might make it a lot more rare, because currently leveling is like, I still prefer maps, but like if you get a new character going, it's kind of dumb not to boost yourself in these stones, at least from like 70 to like 93, 94, 95, even if you have these purple stones. So that's all I'll say about it. Just to recap again, is running the stones worth it? Solo, absolutely not. No, it's not. But is it worth it in groups? If you care at all about XP, it is very much worth it in groups, as long as you have a boss go. Okay, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, bye everyone.